The San Diego sun painted long shadows across my front yard as I pulled into the driveway. 15 years of military service had taught me to notice details. Something was off about my house today. David's black Tesla was parked 3 houses down, partially hidden behind the Johnson's oak tree. My best friend's car shouldn't have been there at 2 in the afternoon. Not when Rachel said she'd be at yoga class. I sat in my truck for a moment, letting the engine idle. The weight of my wedding ring felt suddenly heavy on my finger. Through the living room window, I could see movement, quick, hurried shadows. I hadn't told Rachel I was coming home early from training. Sometimes the best intel comes from the element of surprise. That's what they taught us in SEAL training. I killed the engine and waited. 5 minutes passed before David emerged from my front door. He was tucking in his shirt, walking quickly to his car. My hands gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. Rachel appeared in the doorway, wearing her yoga outfit. She hadn't seen my truck yet. I watched as she blew a kiss in David's direction. 15 years of marriage, 2 beautiful kids, and countless deployments. All of it flashed before my eyes. David had been my best friend since high school. He was my best man at the wedding. He was Noah's godfather. The familiar taste of betrayal filled my mouth like copper. I waited until David's Tesla disappeared around the corner. Rachel was still standing in the doorway, checking her phone. I stepped out of my truck, and the sound of my boots on the concrete made her look up. The color drained from her face. "Jim," her voice cracked. You're home early." I walked past her into the house, my footsteps echoing in the sudden silence. The living room smelled of his cologne. 2 wine glasses sat on the coffee table. One had Rachel's lipstick mark on the rim. "The yoga class must have been really interesting today," I said, my voice steady. Rachel's hands were shaking as she closed the front door. "It's not what you think, Jim." The same old line. I'd heard it from countless suspects during interrogations. "Don't." I held up my hand. "Don't insult my intelligence." She collapsed onto the couch, tears already forming. "How long?" I asked. She stared at the wine glasses. "Jim, please." "How long?" "6 months," she whispered. The room spun for a moment. 6 months. I've been deployed for 4 of them. "It just happened," Rachel continued, her words tumbling out. "You were gone so much." I laughed, a hollow sound that made her flinch. "It just happened?" I picked up one of the wine glasses. "Did you just happen to invite my best friend over while I was away?" "I was lonely." She stood up, mascara running down her cheeks. "You're never here, Jim." "I'm serving our country, Rachel." "I'm serving our family," she shot back. "I'm here every day, raising our kids out." "One." The wine glass shattered in my hand. I barely felt the sting as blood trickled down my fingers. "Don't you dare use our children to justify this." Sophie would be home from school in an hour. Noah's baseball practice ended at 4. I needed to get my emotions under control before they saw me like this. "I want you out of the house," I said quietly. Rachel's eyes widened. "You can't do that. This is my home too. The home I paid for while you were sleeping with my best friend." She recoiled as if I'd slapped her. "Where am I supposed to go?" "I'm sure David has room at his beach house." The words tasted like poison. Rachel started crying harder. "Please, Jim, we can work this out. We can work out the divorce settlement through our lawyers." I pulled out my phone and called Ryan. He answered on the first ring. "Hey, brother. What's up?" "I need you to come over." My voice was mechanical. "Now." Ryan must have heard something in my tone. "On my way." 10 minutes. I ended the call and looked at Rachel. She was hugging herself, mascara streaking her face. "You have until Ryan gets here to pack what you need for tonight." "The kids," she started, "will stay with me until we figure this out legally." She nodded, defeated, and walked upstairs. I heard her opening drawers, hangers sliding on rails. My phone buzzed. A text from David. "We need to talk." I deleted it without responding. Ryan arrived in 8 minutes, his pickup truck rumbling in the driveway. One look at my face told him everything. Shit, he muttered. Rachel and David? I nodded. He put a hand on my shoulder. What do you need, brother? Make sure she leaves. And you? I need to clean up before the kids get home. Ryan understood. He'd been through his own divorce 2 years ago. Rachel came downstairs with a large suitcase and her laptop bag. She stopped in front of me. Jim, don't. She turned to Ryan. Take care of him? Ryan's face was stone. You lost that right, Rachel. She walked out, wheeling her suitcase behind her. The door closed with a soft click. I stood in the kitchen, methodically cleaning up the wine glasses. Ryan watched me from the doorway. You should file first, he said quietly. I know. I've got a good lawyer. Give me the number. He texted it to me while I wiped down the coffee table. What about David? My hand stilled on the surface. One problem at a time. Ryan nodded. Want me to stay until the kids get home? I looked at the clock. 45 minutes until Sophie's bus arrived. No, I've got this. Call me if you need anything. Thanks, brother. After Ryan left, I sat in my recliner, staring at nothing. The house felt different now. Tainted. My phone kept buzzing with texts from David. I turned it off. The school bus squealed to a stop outside. I heard Sophie's footsteps on the porch. The front door opened, and my 12-year-old daughter bounced in. Dad, you're home early. She threw her arms around my neck. I hugged her tight, breathing in the scent of her strawberry shampoo. Where's Mom? She asked, looking around. She had to go help Aunt Jenny with something. The lie tasted bitter. Oh. Sophie dropped her backpack on the floor. Can we have pizza for dinner? I managed a smile. Sure, kiddo. She raced upstairs to change. 20 minutes later, Ryan's wife picked up Noah from baseball practice. He burst through the door, covered in dirt and grinning. Dad, I hit a double today. I high-fived him, pushing down the pain in my chest. That's awesome, buddy. We ordered pizza and watched a movie. Neither kid asked about Rachel again. They were used to her being gone in the evenings. The thought made me sick. After they went to bed, I sat in the dark living room. My phone screen lit up with missed calls and texts. I turned it back on and called Ryan's lawyer. Jessica, Chin answered despite the late hour. Mr. Carter? Ryan told me you'd be calling. Her voice was sharp, professional. I need to file for divorce. Do you have evidence of the affair? Not yet. We'll need it. She paused. I know a good PI. I thought of David's Tesla, the wine glasses, the lipstick stains. Set it up. Come to my office tomorrow at 9. I'll be there. I ended the call and opened my laptop. Rachel's Facebook page showed her latest post from this morning. A selfie at the gym. The comments included one from David. Looking great. I clicked on his profile. Photos of us together at my last birthday party. Him holding Noah at the baseball game 3 weeks ago. Family dinners at our house. The cursor hovered over the unfriend button. Instead, I closed the laptop. Evidence, Jessica had said. Let them keep posting. Let them think I was in the dark. I walked upstairs to check on the kids. Sophie was asleep, her phone glowing with unread texts. Noah had kicked off his blankets again. I covered him up, kissed his forehead. In my bedroom, Rachel's side of the bed was perfectly made. Her pillow still held the indent of her head. I grabbed it and threw it in the closet. Then I lay down, fully dressed, and stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow, I would start gathering evidence. Tomorrow, I would begin dismantling 15 years of marriage. Tomorrow, I would face my children's questions. But tonight, I just needed to breathe. The San Diego night pressed against the windows. Somewhere across town, Rachel was probably with David, my wife and my best friend. I closed my eyes, but sleep didn't come. Instead, I planned. SEALs are taught to compartmentalize, to focus on the mission. Right now, my mission was protecting my kids. Everything else could wait. The betrayal, the rage, the heartbreak. I locked it all away. Tomorrow would be soon enough to deal with it. For now, I just listen to my children breathing in their rooms. And wait, for dawn. Morning came with Sophie's voice at my bedroom door. Dad, why isn't Mom back yet? I opened my eyes to find my daughter already dressed for school. Her long brown hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. She looked so much like Rachel it hurt. Mom's going to stay with Aunt Jenny for a while, I said, sitting up. Is everything okay? 12 years old and already too perceptive. We're just going through some grown-up stuff. She studied my face with those knowing eyes. Is it because of Uncle David? My heart stopped. What do you mean, sweetheart? Sophie shifted uncomfortably. He comes over a lot when you're gone. The rage I'd suppressed last night threatened to surface. I forced it down. What else have you noticed? She shrugged, trying to appear casual. They whisper a lot and laugh at their phones. Mom always puts hers away when I come in the room. Each word was another knife in my chest. My daughter had seen it all. Sophie, I patted the bed beside me. Come here. She sat down, her shoulders tense. You know you can tell me anything, right? She nodded, tears forming. I didn't want to make Mom mad. I pulled her close. None of this is your fault. Are you and Mom getting divorced? The question hung in the air. I don't know yet. I lied. She wiped her eyes. Noah's going to be really upset. Always thinking of her little brother. We'll help him through it. Together. Together. I kissed the top of her head. Go wake up your brother. We're having pancakes for breakfast. She managed a small smile and left the room. I got dressed quickly, my mind racing. Sophie had noticed. How many others had seen the signs? I called Ryan while the kids ate breakfast. I need you to watch them after school. Jessica Chun at 9? Yeah, I've got them. Thanks, brother. I hung up and turned to the kids. Uncle Ryan's picking you up today. Cool. Noah perked up. Can we get ice cream? Homework first. Sophie was quiet, pushing her pancakes around. I dropped them off at school, then headed to Jessica's office. The lawyer's workspace matched her reputation. Clean lines, modern furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Jessica Chin looked younger than I expected, but her handshake was firm, her eyes sharp. Tell me everything, she said. I did. She took notes, asked precise questions. About finances, about the house, about the kids, about David. The business partnership complicates things, she said finally. David and I own a security consulting firm together. Started it 3 years ago. I want out of it. It won't be that simple. She pulled out a business card. This is Marcus Rodriguez, best private investigator in San Diego. He's expensive but thorough. I took the card, set it up. We'll need documentation of the affair. Times, dates, photos. Bank records showing joint expenses. Any texts or emails you can get. I nodded. What about the kids? Given the circumstances, we can push for primary custody. Rachel's infidelity with a family friend. The impact on the children. Sophie's already noticed. Jessica's eyes narrowed. That's important. Document everything she tells you. But don't push her to talk. Let her share naturally. More notes, more plans. By 11, we had a strategy. I left her office with a thick folder of papers to fill out. Marcus called while I was driving. Mr. Carter? Jessica Chin referred you. His voice was gruff, professional. I have an opening this afternoon. 2 o'clock. There's a coffee shop on 5th. Corner table by the window. I agreed and changed direction. The coffee shop was busy. Marcus was easy to spot. Former military, I guessed. The way he scanned the room. How he positioned himself. Standard package is 2-week surveillance, he said after introductions. Photos, video, GPS tracking. Financial records if needed. Do it. He named his price. I didn't flinch. I'll need their regular schedules. Addresses, routines. Known meeting spots. I pulled out my phone, showed him David's beach house address. Rachel's yoga studio. Our company office. The Tesla has a tracking system. I mentioned. Marcus smiled slightly. Those can be useful. He took detailed notes. Asked about their habits. Security systems. Regular meeting times. I'll start today. Daily updates by encrypted email. Anything urgent, I'll call. We shook hands. He disappeared into the crowd. My phone buzzed with a text from Rachel. We need to talk about the kids. Then another. Please, Jim. I'm staying at David's. Of course she was. I texted back one word. Lawyers. Then I called our company's other partner, Mike Zhang. Jim? Everything okay? No. I explained the situation. The affair. The divorce. My need to sell my share. Mike was silent for a long moment. David didn't tell me. Of course not. I'll start the valuation process. Thanks, Mike. Jim. Yeah. I'm sorry, man. I ended the call. Drove to the bank. Opened new accounts in my name only. Transferred my separate funds. Changed all my passwords. Methodical. Strategic. Like planning a mission. Ryan called around 3. The kids are in my place. Sophie's helping with homework. Noah's playing video games. Thanks. Jim. Yeah. David's been calling me. My grip tightened on the phone. What did he say? Wants to explain. Says it's complicated. I laughed bitterly. Isn't it always? Want me to tell him to fuck off? No. Let him keep talking. Evidence, remember? Ryan grunted in agreement. I headed to his house. Found Noah destroying zombies on the Xbox. Sophie reading on the couch. They both looked up when I came in. Mom called, Sophie said quietly. My chest tightened. What did she say? She loves us. And she's sorry. Noah paused his game. Sorry for what? Sophie glanced at me. Protected her brother. Even now. Grown-up stuff, she said. Noah frowned but went back to his game. I took them home. Made dinner. Helped with homework. Normal routine. Like everything wasn't falling apart. After they went to bed, I checked my email. Marcus had sent his first report. Photos of Rachel's car at David's beach house. Timestamps. Security camera footage from their office meetings. My hands shook as I scrolled through them. More texts from Rachel. The kids need both of us. We can fix this. Remember our vows? I closed the laptop. Poured a whiskey. Didn't drink it. Just stared at the amber liquid. Remembering our wedding day. David's best man speech. Rachel's smile as we danced. All lies. My phone buzzed again. A text from an unknown number. A photo. Rachel and David at dinner. Marcus worked fast. I saved it to the evidence folder. Then I went upstairs. Checked on the kids. Sophie was awake, reading by flashlight. Can't sleep? She shook her head. Want to talk? Another head shake. I sat on the edge of her bed. You know what's happening, don't you? She put down her book. Mom's not coming back. It wasn't a question. Not to live here, no. She was quiet for a long moment. Because of Uncle David? Yes. I hate him. The words were fierce, unexpected. He ruined everything. I touched her hand. It's complicated, sweetheart. No, it's not. He was supposed to be your best friend. And he hurt you. And Mom let him. Sometimes 12-year-olds see things clearer than adults. Try to sleep? Okay. She nodded. I kissed her forehead. Walked to my room. My phone had more messages. I ignored them all. Tomorrow would bring more evidence. More lawyer meetings. More painful conversations. But tonight, I just listened to my daughter's words echo in my head. He ruined everything. Simple. Clear. True. 3 weeks passed in a blur of lawyers and paperwork. Marcus was thorough, almost too thorough. Each day brought new evidence of Rachel and David's betrayal. Photos at restaurants. Secret meetings at the beach house. Paper trails of hidden expenses. Jessica Chin built our case methodically. We're in a strong position, she said during our weekly meeting. The evidence is overwhelming. I nodded. shuffling through the latest photos. What about the business? Mike Zhang's valuation came in yesterday. She showed me the numbers. David wants to buy you out. Above market value. Guilty conscience? Jessica's smile was sharp. Let's use that. The kids were adjusting, sort of. Noah still asked about Rachel every day. Sophie grew quieter, more watchful. Then came the incident at school. The principal's call caught me in the middle of a meeting. Mr. Carter, there's been a situation with Sophie. My daughter had punched a boy in her class. Broke his nose. I found her sitting outside the principal's office. Knuckles bruised, eyes defiant. He said Mom was a whore. My heart cracked a little more. Said everyone knew about her and Uncle David. The principal wanted to suspend her. I looked at my daughter's fierce expression, saw myself in her eyes. She was defending herself against bullying. Either handle that boy's behavior, or I go to the school board. Sophie got attention instead. We drove home in silence. I'm not sorry, she said finally. I know, but next time, use words first, then punch. I shouldn't have smiled. Let's stick with words. That evening, Rachel came to see the kids. First time in weeks. She looked thinner, tired. Sophie refused to come downstairs. Noah hugged her, but quickly pulled away. Something's different, he said. Rachel touched her stomach. My blood ran cold. I'm pregnant, she whispered. The words hit like physical blows. Noah looked confused. Is it David's? I asked quietly. She nodded, tears falling. Get out. Jim, please. Get out. After she left, I called Jessica. She's pregnant. With his child. This changes the custody arrangement. How? In our favor. The psychological impact on your children. I stopped listening. Went to check on Noah. Found him in Sophie's room. They were sitting on her bed. Sophie was explaining things. Mom and Dad aren't getting back together. Ever. Because of the baby. Because Mom loves David now. Noah's face crumpled. I hate the baby. Sophie hugged him. Me too. I left them together. Went downstairs. Poured that whiskey I'd been avoiding. My phone buzzed. Ryan. Heard about Rachel. News travels fast. You okay? No. Coming over. He arrived with pizza and beer. Sat with me in the backyard. Remember Kosovo? I nodded. That firefight in the mountains. Thought we were done for. But we made it. You'll make it through this too. Simple. Direct. Ryan's way. The next day, I had a parent-teacher conference. Noah's grades were slipping. His teacher, Mrs. Anderson, was concerned. He seems distracted. Distant. It's been a tough time, I explained. She nodded sympathetically. I'm divorced too. Something in her voice made me look up. Olivia Anderson had kind eyes. Dark hair streaked with silver. A warm smile. It gets better, she said softly. I almost believed her. She gave me her number. Call if Noah needs extra help. Or if you need to talk. I kept the paper in my wallet. Weeks turned into months. Rachel's pregnancy began to show. David moved her into his beach house. Sophie refused to visit. Noah went every other weekend. Came back quieter each time. The business sale went through. David paid premium price. I started my own consulting firm. Smaller. Independent. Mine. Olivia called about Noah's progress. We met for coffee. Talked about kids. Divorce. Starting over. She had a son Noah's age. They played baseball together. Sometimes she brought homemade cookies to the games. Sophie noticed first. You like Mrs. Anderson. It wasn't a question. We're friends. You smile more when she's around. Perceptive as always. Slowly, carefully, life moved forward. Rachel had the baby. A girl. Sophie refused to meet her half-sister. Noah went once. Just once. She's tiny, he reported. And loud. Then he went to play video games. Never mention her again. Olivia and I had dinner. Then another. Her son, Jake, fit easily into our routine. Movie nights. Baseball games. Homework sessions. One evening, she kissed me goodnight. It felt like waking up, like breathing again. The divorce finalized in spring. Rachel moved to Los Angeles with David and the baby. Something about a fresh start. Sophie celebrated with ice cream. Noah cried in his room, then played baseball with Jake. Hit his first home run. Life went on. Olivia moved in that summer, brought warmth back to the house. Sophie helped her decorate. Noah and Jake shared a room on weekends, built pillow forts, played video games. Normal stuff. One night, I found Sophie looking at old family photos. "You okay?" I asked. She nodded. "Just remembering. The good stuff for the bad?" "Both." She looked up at me. "But I like our family now, with Olivia and Jake. It feels real." Out in the backyard, Noah and Jake were playing catch. Olivia was grading papers on the patio. The evening sun painted everything gold. Different from my old life. Better, maybe. Real, definitely. Rachel calls sometimes. Talks to the kids. They're polite, distant, moving forward in their own ways. David left the security business, moved into real estate. I wish them well. Most days, I even mean it. The rage has faded. The betrayal scarred over. Not healed, exactly, but manageable. Olivia understands. She has her own scars. We're careful with each other. Honest. Present. 1 year after Rachel left, I cleaned out the garage. Found a box of wedding photos. Sophie helped me burn them. We made s'mores over the flames. Olivia brought hot chocolate. The boys played zombie apocalypse nearby. Normal chaos. Happy chaos. Our chaos. That night, lying in bed, Olivia asked me a question. "Do you ever regret it?" The divorce. Finding out. I thought about Sophie's strength. Noah's resilience. Our blended family dinners. Movie nights. Baseball games. No. Truth hurts. But lies kill. She kissed me softly. I love our truth. Simple. Clear. Real. Outside, the San Diego night was warm. Stars bright. Tomorrow would bring more challenges. More adjustments. More life. But tonight, I listened to our children laughing down the hall and finally felt at peace. Not perfect, but real. And that was enough.